Hey everybody, Norm over here, and I have my brother from a different mother, my buddy Frank Stallone, and Michael over here, and they got a couple of very cool arch tops. Frankie's got this one that I sold him years ago. It's a refin, but Tom Murphy did the finish.
Tom Murphy did the refin, and Roger Giffen did the top, because Rob reminded me when I bought it, someone had painted it black. Probably about 25 years or maybe 30 years ago, painted black and put the screws in the top for like a Charlie Christian pickup, which was really brilliant. So, and the top, and one day the top just collapsed. And I talked to Tom Van Hoos, who is the father of Super 400s, and he said there was only 94 of this one made. If you see the difference, this is a 1930, wow, 1939, this is a 1935, 34 and a half. And you can see how
that's got the small bout,
smaller F-holes. So this is actually a very rare guitar. The actual reason I bought this guitar, because I saw Roy Rogers sing it on one of his movies, Don't Fence Me In, and he played a Super 400.
Yeah.
And so I loved it, and matter of fact, I went to his museum. I knew Roy, and he signed the back of the headstock, Happy Trails, Roy Rogers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so this is a very rare guitar. And by the way, I just came back from watching Norm's documentary, and I would suggest anyone, especially if you're into guitars, to go see it. You know, Norm was in my documentary, I'm in his documentary, not as much, but I'm in it.
Get out of here, right a second. Yeah, you were in there more.
Rob's got a little more screen time
Pulled
than me,
me
that's
out.
okay. No, but it's a beautiful, nice, lot of sentimentality to it, and we've known Norm. God, I bought my first Martin guitar from Norm. In the little store.
I told Sly, I said, you know, I've known Frankie for probably 35, 40 years or longer.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what do you want me to buy you, a bottle of cognac or something? I don't know what it was, but, you know.
Sleeping pills or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, I don't know, you know.
Yeah,
but,
morphine, opium.
Only brothers can talk to each other like that.
So, as Norm talks in movies, as I think, we're fairly close in age.
We are.
And, you know, you get to a point sometime in your life, you go, what am I going to do? Even Joe Bonamassa said something, what am I going to do with 100 guitars or 60 guitars? I remember at one time I had one Telecaster and one acoustic guitar. That was it. It actually was pretty easy. You just played the same guitar every night, all night. And then I figure some of these guitars are just sitting in storage. Now, different for you, you're in the business, but as a guitar player, you know what I'm saying? He's got one guitar, he's jazz master.
Yeah, I'm a one guitar guy. I have a lot, but I play one.
He plays one. And I figure I can only play one, and I do have an affinity for my Les Pauls, and I have a sentimental place in my heart for these big jazz body guitars, because, you know, Norm...
They'll never be able to build that again.
No, I mean, look at the back of this guitar.
Wow.
Even Nick was saying the quilting on this, yeah. And the thing is, the interesting thing is, you're talking the Depression era, and this was a Super 400, which meant it cost $400.
That was a lot of dough then.
Well, I remember, I hate to tell you, I sold my '58 Les Paul, and I thought I made a killing in 1970 for $400. But then I look back, $100 was equivalent to $1,100. So probably in a dollar probably was equivalent to probably $20, $30 times 400. I mean, so this was definitely for a pro. This is not an amateur. Yeah. So you always wonder, they made 94 of these. A guy had obviously that era big band, so he was probably a fairly well-known guitarist. I mean, this is not something you buy it's not like today.
Usually it was the pros that have those.
Yeah, this is not amateur night. So it's not like today your first guitar is like a Les Paul Custom, you know. I think mine was like a K or something.
Yeah, Ks are cool.
Yeah, but
it ain't that.
No, the strings are that high. Might as well play Hawaiian guitar. But anyway, I would suggest anybody...
Nothing against K guitars.
No, we like K
guitars. Doesn't you know, agree with everything that Frank Stallone says. We love Frank, but Frank is Frank.
I can only say I brought him in a K last week. He gave me like $100 for it. So
Well, there you go.
And Norm said,
I am a
Frank,
real
I'm
guy,
being
right?
generous, man.
I'm being generous.
But listen, K guitars and Silvertone guitars, I mean, anyone that played guitar, that's what they started out with. People didn't have a lot of money, 45 bucks in 1960, considering a guy made $120 maybe every 2 weeks, it's a lot of money. So, yeah, you didn't start out with a Gibson. But anyway, if anybody, my suggestion being an actor, being in 81 movies, I've been around a lot, I would suggest you go see this movie. I mean, it's a heartfelt movie, and it's...
Well, thank you. This is the brochure from the Calabasas Film Festival. Yeah. And they gave us a nice little spot here.
Yeah.
In there is a promo. So I was really, glad to see. I was going, boy, I hope the theater doesn't clear out after 10 minutes.
No.
The people seem to really like it. And,
Norm, you're in your field, you're a legend in your field, and it's amazing the people that have crossed this threshold of this store. And I remember the little store, the first one on the corner. That's where I bought a Martin D28 herringbone from you, and I still have it. And I bought a pink. I want to just jump off the. A pink 1956 Stratocaster maple neck. Norm goes, give me $1,200.
Well, I thought it was your color, so I wanted to give you a good deal.
It was like that hat pink. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was a 56. The neck was all worn down. And I'm thinking, and then I said, and I sold it. Like, oh God, the original case. It was beautiful. But those war stories can go on all day.
Yeah.
But you said that I was a legend, and it's really more allegedly, like when I was accused of all those crimes, I said, allegedly I did it. I didn't do those things.
The only crime is sometimes the guitars get a little pricey, but that's not a crime.
There you go. Well,
But you know what?
That's fair.
I will tell you this, though. He did tell me in the 80s when he had the old stories, he goes, Frank, he just did really well with staying alive. These Les Pauls are like 3,500, 2,800, 4,000. He goes, you should stock up on these, man. And just think, for that, I could have had like 20 Les Pauls. I could be living in Palm Beach right now.
Well, my advice doesn't come cheap,
No, it does. You were very wise on that, and a few people we know did take your advice, like Richie, those guys like
Joe,
that. Yeah, they did take your advice.
There's a number of them. So a number of people who understand the humor in all this.
Well, hindsight, man, I hate to say it's 2020, and we all have war stories of things we've had, and whatever, guitars or jewelry or exotic guns, and you go, you mean? I had a Gibson Explorer, I've told you the story. I paid $150 for it, a 1958 Explorer in 1965. So it was basically 7 years old.
Nobody wanted them, and they didn't even sell out of those. I mean,
when they came out.
When they came out, I think they only made something like 35 of them, and some of them remained in the factory because they couldn't sell them. They were just too radical.
And I went to Music City in Philadelphia on Chestnut Street, and the guy used to work in there. His name was like Joe, like Goldstein, but he changed his name to Shane Thunder. That's his name. And he was an older guy with the goatee and the braid, like, hey babe, hey man, I said, Shane, man, all I have is $150. I worked all summer at Gino Marchetti's, and that's all I had. He goes, all right, well, go back go in the middle in the back where the old stuff is. So I looked around. Now that I realized, saw like a red maple neck Stratocaster. I mean, how much is that? That's $150. And I opened this case. I said, it kind of looks like a Firebird.
You brought the Explorer, and as you left, they were probably laughing.
Yeah, this guy, $150. And then when Norm told me that one of them went for like, how much? What's the most they ever went for?
I don't know. I mean, they're all over the place, but they can, and again,
Would you say close to $1 million?
No, not that much, but no. But,
mine was only 7 years old when I bought it.
Yeah.
And I go like this.
More than $150.
Yeah, more than $150.
You know what? He was a schmuck when he bought it, and he was a schmuck when he sold it.
Yes. So, hey, I'm a double schmuck. What can I tell you?
Double schmuck.
So, but Lemmo was fantastic in the film, and Rob and Nick and everyone was just great in the movie. It was good to see some old faces that I hadn't seen in a while, and it was very, very cool. And I suggest you go see it. So we'll give you a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't we shut up and let you play a little bit? Play some of that Western swing stuff.
Western swing. What? I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and my legs ain't bold, and my feet ain't tan. I'm a wet baby on 88, never go on Solstice Day. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay. He's an old cowhand from the Rio Grande. Come on, help me, Mike. That ain't bold, and my teeth are fine. I know every going on 88, never seen the storm on its own sauce day. Come to baby on the float up day. Yippee-yi-oh-ki-yay, yippee-yi-oh-ki. Take it, Michael.
Cayenne or Cayenne? There he goes.
And that's what those guitars were used for. Norm, they were considered kind of like almost like a snare drum, like in the orchestra.
Well, what happened was, this before there were electric guitars, they needed something that would project out into the back of the audience. If you had a whole orchestra and the horns and strings and all that, you needed something that when
and it was
they did
more
those
for
rhythms,
the band too.
Oh yeah, no, that's what the idea was, to cut through on the band.
Well, before this, and I got to tell you a Nick Lucas story. Anyway, before Nick Lucas kind of brought the guitar in the forefront in the 20s. He wrote Tiptoe Through Tulips and all blah, blah, blah.
Were you a kid then?
I was a kid then. So Paul Whiteman, who was the biggest orchestra at that time in the 20s, introduced Rhapsody in Blue. There was a guy, he was kind of about this big hunchback named Mike Pingatore. And he played.
Why do you have to bring up that he was a hunchback?
But he was.
That's like,
Okay, he was the lunchback. Anyway, but he played a 4-string banjo. And like Eddie Peabody, that's what they used in those days instead of the guitar.
Banjo.
Because it cut, And so then after that, they went to this they called the orchestra style guitar. But you're not gonna believe this. I'm in Philadelphia. Mike Pingatore's from Philadelphia, and I was in a store once in the '60s. He goes, "Yeah, that's a cool little banjo." Yeah, $300. It was Mike Pingatore's.
Oh my God!
Another one. So anyway, anyone knows about music knows about Nick Lucas. They had styled a guitar for him and everything. 1981, I'm at a little concert, and the guy goes, "Yeah, I know Nick Lucas." I said, "Will you invite him down?" He came down. It was a place in Santa Monica. He was about 81 years old. Real Italian guy from Newark, had thick hair. And I was sitting there talking to him, and he was great. And I said, "Mr. Nick," he said, "Call me Nick, kid." I said, "How many guitars do you have?" He says, 2.
Oh, shit.
2. He was the most famous guitar player.
Well, he was a guitar collector then.
Yeah, he had 2. He had the original Nick Lucas guitar, and he had another one.
Wow.
But he said, "This is that guitar I've played for at that time probably 55 years." Now tell him, what is an original Nick Lucas? They're not cheap.
No, those are. Could be 25 grand, could be 30 grand. I don't know. Could be.
And his
10
was
grand.
black.
Yeah. His was the coolest version of the Nick Lucas. There were a few different 12 fret and 14 fret versions.
Yeah, and he had like a lot of inlay.
Yeah.
But it was black, and he said, "Yeah, I dulled it the color because for movies and stuff." And that's the original guitar he had. So it's really funny when you think about these guys. I asked Roy Buchanan, he goes, "How many guitars do you have?" He was playing at the Cross Country in Maryland, 1971. He goes, "Well, kind of the one I have on my neck." One guitar, that old Telecaster.
Yeah.
I said, "How many amps?" Yeah, of course.
They used to make the guitar players dull the finishes, though, for some reason, because I have Robert Blake's LG1 from In Cold Blood, the movie, and they did that on that too. They didn't want him to shine in the film.
Right.
So
And sometimes they would just
cover the name because they didn't
name.
want to advertise or
there
somebody
was no
paid for it.
product placement in those days. But you know, it's all fun, and the whole thing about guitars or anything that people collect, it's always the history behind it. I mean, like this guitar, again, was a very expensive guitar. They're not cheap. I mean, you know, and now it's $24,000, almost $25,000.
What? That?
Yes.
It's
Well,
less
look at
than
the condition.
$25,000. It's $100 less. Than
Well, you think, but you know,
Deal maker.
this guitar is 80, almost 86 years old. Look at the
It's
condition.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
And, you know,
It's almost like that Epiphone Emperor
Yep.
that my brother bought
Sons
me.
of the-
That's a
Pioneer.
whole different story, but it's in that kind of shape. But unlike today, when people want like road worn, it looks like someone went to the bathroom on the guitar. Yeah, man. In those days, these guys probably had one guitar.
Norm's Rare Guitars in no way endorses
Okay, we don't-
what Frank
we
Stallone did. We
don't-
sell some of these road-worn guitars, and they're
Yes.
very good instruments.
Only one that has a sense of humor is Jordan. He's laughing about it. But I mean, I don't suggest you take a urine on your guitar. But the thing is, in those days, most people just had one guitar, and they took good care of it. You know, they spent a lot of money for it. They cared for it. And later on, as we go on in life, you can see why this is worth what it's worth. This guy probably
It's
took very
art.
good care
It's
of it.
guitar art.
Yeah, functional art.
You know,
I
so
like the fact that yours is signed by Roy Rogers.
well, yeah, that's to
That's
me.
like-
That
that's-
adds a little
a
bit to
beautiful
it.
signature too.
You know, and Lemmo and Nick were playing. They go, wow, I really like this one.
And
I hate to tell you, Norm, he
That's the
kind of
mojo.
said he likes mine a little more than this.
I don't know, Norm. I
That
mean,
he didn't
He's
say
trying to be very nice to Frank because, you know, Frank is dangerous.
When he leaves, when I leave, he's gonna go. Yeah, Frank's such a double schmuck. Triple.
No.
All right. All right. Don't be a triple schmuck.
I won't,
Double schmuck,
but-
that's...
Norm, we all love you, and we're happy you're back in the saddle again. Good to see Jordan back. Good to see Rob and Nick and
The whole
all the
gang.
new gang here. And I didn't even know about it until my friend Chris. Chris gets called me. He goes, "Hey, you know, there's doing this movie on Norman's Rare Guitars." I go,
Yeah, by the way, I'm in it.
and I said,
Yeah,
"Why
yeah,
I'm
right.
in it," and I wasn't able to see it because I wasn't well at that point. And
You're still not well.
well, no, I'm not well. Yeah, you know, hey, 74 and counting, baby. We're still going good.
There you
So
go.
we
God
wish you
bless.
love, Norm, and
Right
great
back at
success
you,
with
brother.
the movie. And
And Michael's getting quite an education here between me and
always,
Frank.
always.
You know,
We always talk about Philadelphia.
He's a
See
younger
Cynthia Oli's?
Italian guy. Cynthioli's, A Street Music, Zapp's Music. Well, everything in Philadelphia that we liked about music is gone.
Yes, that
There's
is
not
true.
one music store left.
Yeah.
It's Guitar Center now where you need.
we were cool with that.
Well,
we
okay.
like guitar sound.
Well, you have
We
to
like
wear earphones when you go in. Okay. Other than that.
All
so-
right. Anyhow,
He's
I'm
so
going to cut him
political.
short before he gets me closed down or gets me shot
No.
by some of my competition. The great Frank Stallone, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Frank.
Beautiful 1934-35 Super 400. And Michael with a 39. That is available at Norm's Rare Guitars. And we might be able to hook you up if you're interested. Frank is talking about selling some of his instruments.
Yeah.
So call us if you're interested. Frank Stallone, Michael Lemmo, me, right here. Thanks for watching the videos.
Wow.
All right.
Great.
I got lost.